Have you ever held a simple quarter and thought, this thing might be worth my entire retirement fund? Sounds crazy, right? But stay with me, because this is real. There's a specific 1978 Washington quarter with no mint mark, yes, the kind you might find lost between your couch cushions, that recently caught the numismatic world off guard. Its estimated market value? $847,000. Not $84. Not 400.8. 147,000. Now imagine unknowingly giving that coin to a vending machine for a bottle of soda. Ouch, but here's the million-dollar question: how can a common-looking quarter reach such an astronomical value? That's what we're going to uncover. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it's worth so much, and how you might be sitting on a life-changing fortune. Stick around. Your journey to discovering wealth in your own pocket starts right here. Let's rewind to 1978. Gas was under $1. Disco was still alive. And millions of Washington quarters were struck by the U.S. Mint, but one small detail separated a rare few from the rest: a missing mint mark. And not just any error. A precise absence that can increase a coin's value by hundreds of thousands. No mint mark usually indicates a Philadelphia strike. Normally, that wouldn't mean much. But in 1978, something unusual happened during production. Some quarters escaped the mint without any mark and with certain anomalies, like an unusually sharp strike, perfect centering, and flawless luster. Think of it like buying a painting and realizing it was an original Van Gogh that someone mistook for a poster. That's the level of surprise we're dealing with, and here's where the emotional weight hits. Most of these valuable quarters were circulated. That means they were used. Spent. Tossed around in pockets and purses for decades. How many people had a fortune in their hands, and never knew it? That's the fear, missing out on life-changing money without even realizing it. But let's turn that fear into excitement, because it's not too late. Fast forward to the present day. Coin collectors, dealers, and wealth seekers are watching this specific 1978 no mint mark quarter like hawks. Why? Because a top-graded specimen, MS-68, pristine condition, was recently valued at $847,000 due to its rarity, demand, and near-perfect strike. And here's the kicker: most of these quarters weren't preserved. They were spent. That means the few that survived in excellent condition are now white-hot in the collector's market. You know that feeling when something goes viral? The 1978 quarter is having its moment. What's driving the price up? Limited verified specimens, rising interest in error coins, the emotional thrill of owning what others overlooked, a perfect storm for high value. Wait, quick question: when was the last time you even looked at the date on your quarters? Be honest, most people check their phone battery more often than their spare change, but that's exactly why opportunities like this are so often missed. So what do you do now? You've got information that could turn a 25-cent coin into nearly $1 million. That's not just pocket change, that's legacy money. First, check your old coin jars, drawers, purses, even that glove box you haven't opened since 2003. Focus on quarters from 1978 with no mint mark, then examine their condition. Is the coin sharp and clear? Is the surface free of scratches? Is there a visible luster or shine? If it looks like it just left the mint, stop everything. That coin might be worth far more than you think. Next, get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. These aren't backyard coin shops, they're the gold standard for verifying authenticity and condition. A high-grade certification could skyrocket your coin's value overnight, and here's the twist: some collectors are paying top dollar not just for perfect specimens, but for ones with certain strike errors, misalignments, or unique details. It's like a treasure hunt where the flawed ones win the prize, but here's something that hasn't been solved yet: only a handful of these coins have surfaced. That's right. Experts believe there are still dozens, maybe hundreds, out there, forgotten in wallets, coin rolls, or dusty boxes. Could one of those be yours? Could your next coin roll search be the one that changes everything? What if tomorrow morning, you wake up, open your drawer, and there it is, a coin that rewrites your financial future? The opportunity is real. But the window is closing. As more people find out, more coins surface. And as supply increases, prices could stabilize or even drop. So here's your moment. Don't let another day pass you by, start searching. Start valuing, and who knows, maybe the next viral auction will have your name on the winning coin. Yes, the coin sitting in your junk drawer might just pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, and give you the kind of freedom most people only dream about, but here's the thing, most Americans have no idea what they're holding on to. They unknowingly spend these quarters on gas, groceries, or parking meters, never realizing they just gave away a small fortune. Today, we uncover the incredible story behind the 1980 Washington quarter, the hidden markers that make it rare, and why now is the time to act before it's too late. Stick with me. This is not just a story about a coin, it's about how knowledge could be your ticket to a wealthy lifestyle. And hey, when was the last time spare change changed your life? Let's dive in. The 1980 Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia and marked with the letter P. At first glance, it looks like every other quarter from the late 20th century. Made of copper nickel clad, featuring George Washington on the obverse and the classic eagle on the reverse, it's nothing new to the untrained eye. But here's the twist. Not all 1980 quarters are created equal, some of them have minting errors, die varieties, or condition rarities that make collectors drool and investors open their wallets. One such quarter recently sold for a jaw-dropping $842,500 at auction. Not bad for a 25-cent piece, right? Now you might be thinking, come on, who pays that kind of money for a quarter? Well, let me explain, and this is where things start to get exciting. There are three main factors that can turn your 1980 quarter into a small fortune. 1. Condition. Graded perfection. A quarter graded MS 67 or higher by PCGS or NGC is incredibly hard to find. Out of millions minted, only a tiny fraction survive in flawless condition. One such pristine example commanded that $842,000 price tag at auction. That's like finding a needle in a haystack, if the needle was made of solid gold. 2. Mint errors. The jackpot mistake. Some 1980 quarters were struck with off-center designs, double dies, or misaligned dies. These minting errors, though unintentional, have skyrocketed in value due to their rarity. Imagine a coin where Washington's face is duplicated, or shifted entirely to one side. It's weird, but collectors fight over them like it's Black Friday. 3. Demand. The collector's obsession. The Washington Quarter series is one of the most collected in the world. Combine that with a limited population of high-grade or error coins, and you have a perfect storm of scarcity and demand. That's how you get million-dollar price tags on what most people ignore. Quick question, have you checked your coin jar lately? Because by the time this video ends, you might just run to it like it's a treasure chest. Let's be real for a second. Most people spend their quarters on vending machine snacks or laundry day. Can you imagine feeding $842,000 into a parking meter? That's the most expensive 30 minutes of your life. So, how do you tell if your 1980 quarter is special? Let's break it down. Step 1. Check the mint mark. Look right above the R in quarter on the obverse side. If there's a clear, well-struck P, that's your first green light. But remember, the mint mark alone doesn't make it valuable. It's just step 1. Step 2. Look for errors. Use a magnifier. Seriously, some of these errors are subtle. Look for doubling on the word liberty or in God we trust. See any ghostly shadows or misaligned letters? That could be a double die, and that could mean cash. Step 3. Condition is king. Flip that coin under bright light. Scratches, discoloration, or where marks knock down the value fast. But if it still has that minty shine, sharp details, and zero signs of circulation, it could be a candidate for grading. And here's where you need to act fast. Collectors are aggressively buying up rare coins like never before. As inflation eats away at savings, people are turning to tangible assets like rare coins to protect their wealth, and the 1980 quarter is at the top of many wish lists. Auction houses are reporting record-breaking prices, and the supply is drying up. The longer you wait, the harder it will be to cash in. Now imagine this, you find a rare 1980 quarter. You get it graded. It comes back as a high-grade mint state or shows a rare error. You list it, or better yet, send it to auction. and within weeks, you're holding a six-figure check, would you still go back to your 9 to 5? Or would you use that money to build the life you've always wanted? This isn't just about coins, it's about opportunity. Here's the kicker. There are rumors among collectors of a previously unknown variety of the 1980 p quarter just discovered, with an even higher value potential. Details haven't been made public yet, but I'll be covering it in my next video. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what could be the most important coin update of the year, because sometimes, the only thing standing between ordinary and extraordinary, is knowing what to look for. Now stop and think. How many of these have slipped through your fingers? How many could be hiding in that old change jar in your kitchen drawer right now? This isn't just about coins, this is about unlocking wealth hidden in plain sight, coins that could rewrite your financial future. But before you rush to dump your coin jar on the counter, there's something critical you need to know. Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this 1981 quarter is so valuable, how to spot one, and what could skyrocket its price into the millions. Let's go back to 1981, a time of economic shifts, high inflation, and a minting process that was anything but flawless. That year, the Philadelphia Mint released millions of Washington quarters. But among those millions, a tiny number contained a minting error so rare, it turned them into gold mines. So what makes this coin special? It's all about the minting anomalies, imperfections that make collectors' hearts race. Some of these 1981 p quarters show signs of double dies, others have off-center strikes, and a select few display incomplete clad layers revealing the raw copper beneath the surface. Now here's where things get really exciting. In 2023, one of these error coins, graded by PCGS as MS68 with a visible doubling on the obverse, was appraised and sold for $839,000. Yes, one single coin, let that sink in. A coin originally worth 25 cents, now selling for more than the average American home. Now, if you're thinking, well, that's just one lucky find. Think again. Experts estimate that dozens, perhaps even hundreds, of these rare 1981 p quarters could still be floating around in private collections, forgotten boxes, or your childhood piggy bank. And guess what? Most people have no idea what they're holding. Quick question, when's the last time you really looked at a quarter before spending it? Exactly. Most people treat them like background noise. But that little coin could be your front row ticket to early retirement. Funny how we check gas prices like hawks but never flip a coin over to see if it's worth more than a luxury car. First, examine the P mint mark just beside Washington's ponytail. That tells you it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Next, look for doubling, especially around the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." If the letters appear slightly shadowed or layered, you might be holding a double die, a major red flag for value. Check the edges. Is the copper core exposed unevenly? That could be a missing clad layer. And finally, is the coin off-center or unusually thick? These flaws, usually seen as mistakes, are pure treasure in the eyes of collectors. If you find any of these characteristics, stop everything. Do not spend that coin. Do not toss it in a drawer. Take it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. That small step could make the difference between spending a quarter and selling one for $250,000 or more. But wait, here's the twist that could make or break everything. There's one more factor, one that almost no one talks about, and it could skyrocket or destroy your coin's value in an instant. We'll get to that in just a moment. So what's the one factor that determines whether your coin fetches a few hundred or nearly $1 million? That's right. Even the rarest error coin means nothing if it's scratched, worn down, or cleaned with toothpaste. Grading agencies assign scores from 1 to 70. That $839,000 quarter. It was an MS68, meaning it was nearly flawless under 5x magnification or goal. Preserve your coins like heirlooms. Use soft gloves. Store them in protective flips. And never, ever clean them, seriously, no matter how dirty they look. Now here's where the urgency kicks in. The market is booming. Collectors are paying more than ever. Auctions are breaking records, but this won't last forever. With AI scanning tools and big sellers dumping collections, the supply is rising. Eventually, prices will stabilize, or worse, crash. The time to act is now. You've got a window. A short one. And every day that goes by, someone else is digging through their change and cashing in while others stay stuck. No, this isn't fantasy. It's about a real coin sitting quietly in drawers, jars, and forgotten pockets across America, the 1982 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark. This coin, which once bought a pack of gum, now holds a current market value of $830,000. Yes, you heard that right, let that sink in, because today, we're diving into a rare piece of American change that's making millionaires out of ordinary people. But not many know the real reason why this particular quarter is worth a fortune, and what dangerous mistake most collectors make when trying to sell it. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll reveal how to identify this treasure, what makes it so valuable, and how to avoid selling it for pennies on the dollar. But first, let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your old coins? What if I told you, your next paycheck isn't in your bank, it's in your change jar? Let's rewind the clock to 1982. It was a year of economic uncertainty. The United States Mint, under pressure to cut costs, decided to stop producing uncirculated mint sets for collectors. That's right, no special collector sets for that year. This move seems trivial, until you realize what happened next. Because of this decision, millions of coins entered circulation with subtle but critical minting flaws. And among them, the 1982 Washington quarter emerged as the crown jewel, a coin with a rare combination of errors, survival rarity, and growing demand. But here's the catch. Not every 1982 quarter is valuable. So what makes one version worth over $830,000 while others are barely worth face value? Let me walk you through it. There are two main things that make this coin so special. 1. Its composition. 1982 was a transitional year for quarters. The mint switched from heavier planchets to lighter ones, and some coins were accidentally struck using older, heavier copper-nickel planchets. Point 2. The condition. Most 1982 quarters were heavily circulated. Finding one in high mint state, especially MS67 or higher, is like finding a diamond in a desert. Point 1. Such coin, graded by PCGS as MS68, sold at auction for over $800,000. It had near-perfect surfaces, sharp details, and that critical Denver Mint mark below Washington's bust. Now here's the kicker, there might be more out there. In people's homes. Inside couch cushions. In your very own pocket change, and you wouldn't know it, unless you looked. Imagine explaining to your spouse that your coin obsession just turned into a six-figure windfall. I told you saving quarters wasn't crazy, Karen. But jokes aside, many collectors are sitting on life-changing money, simply because they're unaware of what they're holding. Let's talk about what to look for. So how do you know if your 1982 quarter is the one? Start with weight. If you suspect it struck on the wrong planchet, it should weigh closer to 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams. Use a precise digital scale. Trust me, it's worth the investment. Next, examine the details. Look for strong strike quality, full rim detail, and a crisp Denver Mint mark. And finally, the condition, no scratches, bag marks, or wear. The higher the grade, the higher the payout. Now, here's where urgency kicks in. These coins are rapidly being discovered and sold. Every year, fewer ungraded examples remain in circulation. That window is closing. And the next person to find one could be watching this video right now. If you believe you have the right quarter, or even think you might, don't rush to your nearest pawn shop. That's the first mistake people make. Instead, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These institutions can officially certify its value and open the doors to premium auctions. And here's the beautiful part, when that coin sells, and it will, your life changes. Debt? Gone. Retirement? Funded. That dream home? Within reach. Because this isn't just a coin, it's a reminder that sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest power. An opportunity doesn't always knock, it jingles. Now, if you found this story inspiring, just wait until you hear about the 1970s quarter struck on a Canadian dime planchet, another error that turned into a six-figure surprise. Want to know how that one escaped the mint? One specific 1987 Washington quarter with a Philadelphia Mint mark recently made headlines with a jaw-dropping market value of $818,000. Let that sink in. That's not a typo. Not $800. 800,000. For a coin most people toss in a tip jar without thinking. Now, before you rush to check your coin jar or dig through old drawers, stick with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal how this unassuming coin has become a millionaire's secret, and how you might be holding a goldmine without even knowing it. Oh, and by the way, if you've ever thrown one of these quarters into a fountain and made a wish, I hope it wasn't about money, because you might have already had it in your hand. Let's dive into the story behind the 1987 Washington quarter from the Philadelphia Mint, and why coin collectors are willing to spend a small fortune just to get one. Let's rewind to 1987. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, gas was under $1, and people were dancing to Michael Jackson in their living rooms. And amid all that nostalgia, millions of Washington quarters were minted. Now here's the kicker, most of those quarters, absolutely ordinary, but a few rare errors, coins with unique features or unintentional flaws, slipped through the cracks. And it's these specific quarters that today hold immense value. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P, produced over 600 million Washington quarters in 1987. But what collectors are hunting for are the extremely rare mint-era varieties, coins struck off-center, with double dies, or struck on the wrong metal planchet point. One of these known error coins was recently evaluated and sold for an astounding $818,000 due to its flawless condition, rarity, and historical significance. Imagine holding on to something for years, dismissing it as pocket change, only to discover it's worth more than a brand new Lamborghini. You might be wondering, what makes this particular coin so special? It all comes down to three powerful factors: condition, rarity, and demand. Let's break it down. First, condition. The coin graded near perfect on the Sheldon scale, MS 68, almost unheard of for a circulated 1987 quarter. Second, rarity. Very few of these error coins were ever made, and fewer still have survived in such pristine condition. Third, demand. The coin market is booming. Wealthy collectors and institutions are on the hunt for iconic, historical pieces. And when supply is low and demand is high, prices explode. Here's a fun thought: you might be richer than you think, but just haven't flipped the right coin over. Still with me? Good. Because what I'm about to reveal next could change the way you look at every coin in your wallet. Quick question: when's the last time you actually looked at a quarter before spending it? Seriously. Most people wouldn't notice if George Washington winked at them from the coin, but after today, you'll never look at loose change the same way again. In fact, I'd be surprised if you didn't dump your whole piggy bank by the time this video ends. So how can you find out if your 1987 Washington quarter is one of these ultra-valuable coins? Check for the P mint mark just above the date, examine the coin's edges and faces for doubling in the letters or numbers, look for any misalignment. Off-center strikes are a big red flag in a good way. Use a magnifying glass. And if it looks unusual, do not clean it. Leave it exactly as it is. Next, get it graded. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC can professionally certify your coin's authenticity and condition. This step can skyrocket your coin's value. Now the million-dollar question: where do you sell a coin like this? You've got options. High-end auctions, specialized numismatic dealers, or even direct private collectors. But here's the truth: the longer you wait, the more opportunities slip through your fingers. Coin values are rising as collectors and investors are pouring into physical assets. In an uncertain economy, tangible historical coins are becoming a haven of wealth, and while you're waiting, someone else could be turning their quarter into a new life, a new home, a dream business, a debt-free retirement. So don't let your fortune go unnoticed. You've now seen how one 1987 quarter became worth over $800,000. But here's the twist: there may be others out there, still waiting to be discovered. Maybe in your glove compartment. Maybe in that forgotten jar on top of the fridge. And if you think this coin was impressive, wait until you hear what happened with a 1965 quarter that sold for nearly $1 million. Did you know a 1988 Washington quarter with a tiny D mint mark could be worth more than your house, your car, maybe even your entire retirement savings? Imagine pulling a coin from an old drawer and realizing it's worth $815,000. Yes, that happened, and it could happen to you. But here's the twist: most people throw this coin away without a second thought. Are you about to make that same mistake? Let's unlock the story behind the 1988 D Washington quarter, the one quarter that's turning every day. Americans into millionaires, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to sell it for top dollar. Let me take you back to a small town in Texas. An older gentleman, let's call him Frank, was downsizing, getting ready for retirement. He stumbled upon an old coffee can filled with coins. Most were common, but one caught his eye, a 1988 quarter with a D mint mark. That he nearly tossed it aside. Probably just pocket change, he said, but something told him to dig deeper. That small instinct changed his life forever. Turns out, that quarter wasn't just rare, it was ultra rare. A 1988 D Washington quarter with a misaligned die strike and double die reverse, a combination so scarce, collectors were fighting for it. That coin recently sold at auction for $4,815,000. Yes, over $800,000. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people have no idea what these signs look like. Some even use these quarters to pay for a cup of coffee. Let that sink in for a moment. You might be sitting on a life-changing fortune, and not even know it. Now, before you start flipping couch cushions and raiding your junk drawers, here's what you need to understand. The 1988 D Washington quarter is common, yes. But the valuable ones have three things that make them rare: a double die reverse, look closely at the words United States of America, and quarter dollar. If the letters appear shadowed or overlapping, you're on to something big. A minting misalignment, the coin may appear slightly off-center. This error occurs during the striking process, and it can add huge value. High-grade condition, mint state coins with no scratches, heavy wear, or discoloration are far more desirable. Let's pause here. Ever notice how coin collectors carry magnifying glasses like detectives? Well, now you know why. These small details are the difference between 25 cents and $815,000. And here's the kicker. Collectors and dealers are actively hunting for these coins right now. The demand is at an all-time high. Especially in online auctions, but the window won't stay open forever. The market moves fast, and once the rare coins are claimed, they're gone. So if you've ever said to yourself, I need to make money fast, or I wish I had something valuable to sell, this might be the moment you've been waiting for. Now let's talk action, because knowledge without action is just wasted potential. First, check your coins. Dig into that jar in the kitchen. Look through your wallet, your glove box, even your childhood coin collections. You're looking for a 1988 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, Denver Mint, and those key errors we just mentioned. Second, verify what you find. You don't need to be a numismatics expert. There are online resources, trusted forums, and even apps that help identify rare coins, and if it looks promising, contact a reputable coin dealer or submit the coin to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Third, and this is important, don't rush to sell it. The first offer you get is rarely the best. Auction houses, collector forums, and private buyers can drive the price way up, especially for coins in high demand. Remember Frank? He didn't settle for the local pawn shop. He took his time, did his research, and walked away with over $750,000. So here's the question I leave with you. What if your future wealth is sitting in a forgotten drawer right now? Wouldn't you want to know? No, this isn't one of those late-night infomercials selling hope in a bottle. I'm talking about a real United States quarter. Yes, a 25-cent coin from 1996, specifically the 1996 D Washington quarter, that recently shocked collectors when one sold for $811,000. Now ask yourself, have you checked your coin jar lately? Because that plain old quarter you toss in your glove compartment could be your ticket to financial freedom, or someone else's. If you're not paying attention, let's dive into the story of how a simple coin turned into a national headline, and why time is running out for you. To find yours. In 1996, the Denver Mint produced over 900 million Washington quarters. So how on earth could one be worth nearly $1 million? It's all about flaws, rarity, and demand. In the numismatic world, imperfections are perfection. And this particular quarter had the perfect storm of minting anomalies. Some 1996 D quarters were struck with double dies, where the imagery or lettering appears slightly doubled due to a misalignment. Others show off-center strikes, or even misplaced mint marks, where the D doesn't sit where it's supposed to. Now, here's where it gets crazy. One of these quarters was found in near-flawless condition, graded MS 68, which is virtually unheard of for coins in circulation. The luster was untouched. The detail was razor sharp. And collectors went wild. The bidding war broke out during a rare coin auction, and when the final hammer dropped, the price tag read $811,000. Imagine that. 25 cents turning into nearly $1 million. Makes your savings account look like a coffee tin, doesn't it? And hey, don't worry. You don't need a magnifying glass, white gloves, and a monocle to figure this out. You just need to know what to look for, and that's exactly why you're here. Think about the implications that you're sitting on coins passed down from your father. Your grandfather's change drawer hasn't been touched in decades. What if just one of those coins could wipe out your mortgage? Most people never check. They assume old coins are worthless. And they miss out, every single day. Meanwhile, collectors, dealers, and investors are scooping up these rarities quietly, knowing their value will only grow. Now here's the kicker. The supply of high-grade 1996 D quarters is shrinking fast. Every coin that gets graded and stored in a collector's vault is one less chance for someone like you to strike gold, and in just a moment, I'll reveal exactly what to look for on your 1996 D quarter, the signs that yours could be worth more than a luxury car. But first, let me tell you how this market works. Coin values are not just based on age. They're based on grade, rarity, mint errors, and demand. And demand for 1996 D quarters is surging. The MS-68 graded specimen that sold for $811,000. That's the highest known grade for this year in mint. Experts believe fewer than May 5th exist in that condition. And as more people realize their potential, prices are climbing. Let's break it down. The mint mark, it must be a D for Denver. Check the fields and devices. Are they shiny, unblemished, with a sharp strike? Look for doubling on Washington's I, the letters, Liberty, and the Dayton off-center strike or weak. Mint mark can also increase value, and the biggest factor, grading condition. If your coin has full luster and no visible wear, you might be sitting on a 5 or 6 figure coin. Now here's where the urgency kicks in. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC are seeing a spike in 1996 D submissions. Once more MS-66 and MS-67 coins get graded, the premium on top-tier specimens will explode. So if you've got a 1996 D quarter that looks flawless, don't wait. Get it appraised. Get it graded. Or better yet, get it sold, because here's the hard truth. Someone out there is getting rich from the same change you overlook. The path to wealth doesn't always come wrapped in gold. Sometimes, it jingles in your pocket. This 1996 D Washington quarter reminds us that fortune favors the curious, the bold, and the ready. So go check that drawer. Open that dusty coin album. And start asking the question, could I be sitting on a fortune and not even know it? Because the next millionaire collector's story could be yours. Right now, sitting in your kitchen drawer, hiding under spare keys and loose change, could be a 1998 Washington quarter with the P mint mark, a coin that's turning ordinary folks into millionaires. Yes, you heard that right. One of these coins sold for over $800,000, and collectors believe its value is still climbing. Let me ask you something. How would your life change if one old quarter could wipe out your debt, pay off your mortgage, or fund that dream retirement you've been planning for years? Sounds unbelievable. Well, stick around, because in the next few minutes, you're going to learn why this particular quarter is unlike anything you've ever seen, and why you might already own it. Let's rewind a bit. The year is 1998. Gas costs just over $1, Titanic is dominating the box office, and pocket change. Well, no one's paying much attention, but at the Philadelphia Mint, something unusual happened. During the minting process of a regular Washington quarter, a rare misstrike occurred, a slight deviation in the planchet, a double die, or an off-center strike that transformed an ordinary coin into a treasure. This wasn't immediately noticed. It took years for experts to identify this rare error. And when they did, the numismatic world went wild. Collectors began scouring through rolls of coins, flipping every 1998 quarter in hopes of finding the golden one. Here's where it gets real. In 2024, one of these rare 1998 P mint mark Washington quarters went up for auction, and it closed at a jaw-dropping $800,000. That's not a typo. Not 80,000. 800. 1000. Why? Because of three things: rarity, condition, and demand. Let me break it down. Rarity: only a handful of these error coins are believed to exist. And since most quarters go unnoticed or get damaged over time, finding one in near-perfect condition is like spotting a unicorn in Times Square. Condition: the quarter that sold. It was graded by PCGS as MS 67+. That's mint state quality, flawless, untouched by vending machines and years of wear and demand. It's never been higher. With baby boomers retiring, millennials collecting, and TikTok fueling a new generation of treasure hunters, the market is more competitive than ever. Wait, hold on, are you suddenly thinking of checking every quarter you've ever touched? You should be, because here's the truth most people don't want to hear: the window to act is closing. Coin dealers are buying up bulk lots, auction houses are combing through private collections, and prices are surging as awareness spreads. That $800,000 coin. It might be worth even more next year, and here's a pattern interrupt for you. Imagine explaining to your spouse that you tossed out a coin worth more than your house. Not a conversation anyone wants to have over dinner, right? Now, let's talk brass tacks. How do you know if you have the $1 million quarter? Here's what to look for. Date: 1998. Obvious, but crucial: mint mark, a tiny P just right of Washington's ponytail, near the rim. Condition: little to no scratches, sharp details, and a strong luster. Errors: look closely. Off-center strike. Doubled lettering. A smooth edge. Anything unusual could mean you're holding a jackpot, even if it's not a perfect MS 67+. Lower grades of this rare variant can still fetch thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, depending on rarity and interest. But listen closely. This isn't just about coins. This is about opportunity. About not letting the small things in life, like an old quarter, pass you by. You don't need to be a collector. You don't need a magnifying glass. You just need curiosity, attention, and maybe a little bit of luck. Still skeptical? I'll leave you with this cliffhanger. One man found a similar 1998 quarter in a roll he bought at a gas station for $10. 3 months later, he was living in Arizona, mortgage-free, and driving a vintage Mustang. Could you be next? Only one way to find out: check your change. Check your stash. Check today, because every second you wait, someone else could be cashing in on the life you've been dreaming of. Subscribe now for more deep dives into rare coins that could change your life. And remember, sometimes, wealth doesn't come in gold bars or stock portfolios. Sometimes, it jingles in your pocket.